To add existing content to a diagram, simply browse the components hierarchy of the architecture, for example, into Applications and Front-End Processing here, and this IVR application, and you can simply drag and drop onto the canvas here. That adds an existing element from the repository to the diagram. The new content can be connected in this diagram just the same as any original content. For example, if we go into Smart Connector mode here, choose the user's connection type and say that new process 2 uses the IVR application. To understand where else a component may be used within the repository, you can simply right-click it and use the Go To function. This shows in this case that the IVR application exists on several catalogs, in matrices, on various diagrams, three-dimensional views, and charts. So let's go and have a look at where the IVR application exists in our application landscape by clicking the link here. This opens the application landscape diagram and already pre-selects the IVR application here, showing that it's a front-end processing application with various interfaces to other applications. You'll notice on this diagram that applications are several different colors, according to the legend shown on the right here. Now this is using ABACUS's color by property feature. So if we right-click on Applications here and select Change Color, we can see that applications are being colored according to the Information Status property. Now Information Status is a list property type in ABACUS that has 4 values. The value 1, corresponding to Retain, is green, all the way up to the value 4, corresponding to Retire, is set to red. You can also see on this diagram that various elements are hyperlinked to other places within the repository, or indeed externally to the repository. For example, the ERP marketing database here has a hyperlink on it. If we click on the link here, we can see indeed there's 2 different links, one to an information architecture diagram and a second to a databases catalog. But let's jump to the information architecture diagram here. This opens the diagram and shows you the overall information architecture for this application. Links can be added from diagrams to any internal view within ABACUS or externally to any other place. If we were to right-click the products here and go Open Links, we could now add a link to any of the internal views within ABACUS or indeed externally, for example, to a website such as Avolution's. As we enter these links, we're able to reorder them if we have multiple links, and the object is shown with a hyperlink here. Diagrams can also be produced by querying the repository. So if we go to create a new diagram here, choose the correct architecture and the correct viewpoint. This time let's use a solution diagram from the ABACUS library, as it allows the most elements in it possible. Now let's, for example, go and find the IVR application here, choose IVR, include all of the element attachments here, which are the connections, unselect this filter to allow it to include all of the objects attached to the IVR, and generate that picture. So this diagram is showing you the IVR application and then all of the relationships it has to other elements in the repository. So for example, we can see a number of other applications that it interfaces with here, various services it requires, a project that's impacting it, processes that it's being used by, including of course that new process 2 we added, and existing processes here, and the department that owns it, and in this case the server on which it runs. And finally, if connections are included on a diagram but only the parent or the grandparent or the great-grandparent etc. is included, then the connection is bound to that parent or grandparent or great-grandparent that is shown, as shown here. So for example, if we were to remove the website from this diagram but not remove its connections, the connections are now bound to the parent here. So if we were to move this parent, we can see that these connections are included with the parent. Now those connections are shown here as not being able to be detached.